It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone. I got hung up there. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's version of the Brouhaha. Marshall Wood, joined here by Dale McKee once again to talk a little sports. What's going on and around the world of sports, in and out and upside down. Dale, how you doing, buddy?
Well, the sun's out, it's warm.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. But grass mowing time of year. Do you mow your own grass, or you get somebody to do that for you?
Do I have to say that on the air?
Well, I mow mine.
Well, there is a portion of my yard that has to be cut every week. It's backed up against a pasture, and it just has to be cut every week. Down the front, it doesn't have to be cut, but every 2 weeks.
You got you some centipede up there on the front and some hair grass in the back.
Yeah. It's rough.
Oh, man, I cut mine every week. I cut mine in the neighbor's there, which is my son. He's my neighbor. I cut his too. But anyway, there's not much sports involved there. Of course, you can't work up a sweat. And you can get you some good exercise.
You sure can.
If you're pushing or riding. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about sports, Dad. We always kind of start off with your side. What's going on up and down the sidelines for you this week?
Well, you know, the big thing is the College World Series up in Omaha.
Omaha.
It's the ACC against the SEC.
That was, we talked, I think,
yeah,
we might talk about that. That's pretty incredible talking about that last week.
Yeah, 4-4.
Man, right down the middle.
Right down the middle. Well, right now it looks like Tennessee, would be the first team in probably 20-something years to go in as a number one seed and win it. And right now they're 2-0. In their first game, they had to battle Florida State, and they ended up beating them 12-11.
Wow, what a game.
Yeah, and then they came back and beat North Carolina. But just looking at some of the scores from the tournament, okay, we had one game. We had Kentucky beat North Carolina State 5-4. We had A&M beating Florida 3-2. And so, every game up there has been pretty close of the 4 games that they've played. Now Tennessee, since they're 2-0, they've got a bye. Kentucky and A&M were going to play Monday night. The winner of that gets a bye until I guess. Well, no, they would have to play. Just looking at this bracket, it's a little bit different on both sides there. So anyway, but right now Tennessee, I would say, is in the driver's seat.
Well, they came in as number one seed overall too, did they not?
They did.
Yeah, I guess that's where they belong until proven otherwise.
Yeah. So anyway,
how often does the number one seed win it?
Not very often. Not very often. Well, the thing. I don't know if you 2 years ago when Ole Miss won it. Okay, what people don't realize, Tennessee was the best team in the country by far.
That year.
That year, they were the by far the best team. They were hitting home runs like you eat spaghetti. It was everywhere. And so I don't know if you remember, but even some people were saying they're the best college baseball team ever. Now, that was 2 years ago. Tennessee never went to Omaha because Notre Dame upset them. When Notre Dame upset Tennessee, every other team that was going to Omaha all of a sudden said, "We got a chance." And you remember the Rebels snuck through there?
Sure did.
Ended up beating Oklahoma in the finals. But what would have happened if Tennessee would have gone up there? And what I'm saying to you is that ballpark's a little bit bigger than they play it at home, and but they've proven in the couple games that in the World Series this year, they can still hit the ball very well all over the ballpark.
They can hit it a long way.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying I'm pulling for Tennessee, but Tennessee's got the best team going in. Now, we're going to ask our guest here in a few minutes what he thinks about Tennessee, because he got to play them this year.
Yeah. Tell us about our guest.
Will Hodo.
Hodo.
He's a Waynesboro boy. He grew up here. Went to school here. Finished from Wayne Academy probably 4 years ago. Time has lost me there.
Yeah.
But he is now playing baseball at the University of Alabama.
Alabama, roll tide, Mr. Hodo.
Yes, sir.
Roll
so
tide.
he should be able to tell us about the SEC.
Yeah.
And what he thinks, because like I said, Kentucky's still in it. A&M's got a chance. A&M's best player is from Mississippi, and he's out of the tournament, and he's probably going to be a number one draft choice. The Montgomery kid from Madison Central that played at Stanford last year, he is now playing at Texas A&M. And so he is considered a number one draft choice by Major League Baseball.
What does the number one draft choice in Major League Baseball make?
A lot of money.
Is it a lot? They don't have like limits on what they can pay them, like say the.
Well, no, they have slots. I'm not sure. Baseball's different from some of those sports. They've got, okay, if you're a 10th round draft choice, it says, okay, your slot price is $80,000. Well, if the team wants to give some of your $80,000 to other players, they may not even sign you. Or they might say, okay, that's why a lot of these major league teams are right now, they're drafting senior players because seniors have no recourse. They can't go back to college. So you either take our offer or, you don't play. So, that's what happened to Jake Mangum. He was in a situation where he was a senior and the Mets didn't give him the full slot price. And so some of his money went to other people. To maybe say it went to a high school player. I might have gone to a junior, said, well, no, if that's all you're going to offer me, I'm not going to come out. But the draft is next month, July 14th through 17th in Arlington, Texas.
Well, it'll be here before we know it. Just kind of like running out of time in our first segment before we know it.
We are.
Yeah, let's take a break, Dale, and when we come back from this break, we'll have tonight's guest, Mr. Will Hodo, with us. This ought to be a lot of fun, don't you think?
I hope so.
All righty. We'll be back right after this word from our sponsor with tonight's guest, Will Hodo, baseball, University of Alabama. See you right after the break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Will Hodo. Will, we're just such a pleasure to have you here, local boy that's made good over at the University of Alabama. And just tell us about your recap of the Crimson Tides and your personal stats for this year.
Well, we had a good year. We started off the season really strong and out of conference play. We had Manhattan the opening weekend and then Valparaiso a week after that. And we played real well against them. And then we went out and played a tournament in Frisco against 3 teams that were all playing in the NCAA tournament, which was Arizona, Dallas Baptist, and who's the other team out there? And Indiana. So three quality opponents that we got to play against that kind of showed us who we were as a team before we got into SEC play. So we had some valuable games there. And then getting into SEC play, we opened up with Tennessee, actually, who is obviously still playing and have a really good shot to win it all after winning their first 2 games in Omaha. So we had them opening weekend and beat them 2 out of 3. So beating a team of that caliber 2 out of 3, we were excited to see how our season was going to be, and then we keep going on. The story of our SEC play was really that we just couldn't get it done on the road, to be honest, and that showed. We beat Tennessee, and then we go and get swept by Georgia and Kentucky in the first couple weeks of SEC play, and we were really strong at home. We beat Arkansas, who was the #1 team in the country at the time, and then the following week we went toe-to-toe with Texas A&M, and against those two teams we went 3-3. So we had the talent, and when we were playing at our best, we were as good as anybody in the country, as our outcomes of all those games showed, and just didn't get hot at the right time, to be honest.
I want to step in here. We'll be all over the place with you, Will. I want to just kind of stop for a minute and back up to when you transitioned from high school to playing in the SEC. I mean, you made it. You know, you were playing as a freshman some, and tell us about the transition and was it a shock? Was it something or was it kind of smooth for you? How'd that work for you?
I mean, as far as transitioning goes, so playing so much baseball between high school and summer, there's so much quality competition even in high school that you get to college and you think you're going to be ready for all that because you played so many games, and you get there and you start to realize that every single person on your team they were the best player on their high school team. So it's a world different. And throughout the fall, because we scrimmaged for probably, I want to say we have like 10 weeks or so to scrimmage in the fall, so we get a healthy amount of baseball in the fall, and you kind of see how you fall in. And I'll say that starting off in the fall during scrimmages, I mean, it was pretty tough adjusting to going from playing Wayne Academy, where you might see the occasional pitcher throwing 85, 87 miles an hour, and then you go to school and everybody there is throwing 90, and if they're not throwing 90, they're probably throwing 95. So it takes some time to adjust to that. But throughout my freshman fall, I mean, I got better, playing with all my teammates who were outstanding, and just got better, and through that, just made me into the player I was back then.
Traveling around, I mean, you mentioned, some places it's hard to play. What is your favorite SEC opponent? Let's just say on a national level. What trip, what campus, what stadium, what atmosphere that you've traveled to sticks out to you more than anything else?
I think my favorite place that I played, as far as like stadium and atmosphere goes, is probably Texas A&M. They just got their fan base. They show up to every game, and they're gonna be rowdy, and they've got a beautiful stadium and beautiful field, and it's just a lot of fun to play out there.
I guess the 12th man carries over, covers all the sports out there. The only way to turn out.
Oh yeah, that's not just a football thing there.
Well, listen, how was it? Do you get a little bit more motivated when you play, say, in a Mississippi State or an Ole Miss or Southern Miss?
I wish I could sit here and tell you that I do, but at the end of the day, I would say that they're all just baseball games, and I try not to let myself get too emotional during baseball games, because most of baseball is mental anyway, and you start letting stuff like that get to you, and that's when you start pressing or getting nervous, and when nerves take over, and it's not going to be very good for you. The results aren't going to be good for you on the field. So I wish I could say that I'm out there trying harder, or not as hard against other opponents, but it's all baseball at the end of the day.
Well, listen, who was probably who do you think was the best player in the SEC
This year?
That you saw at all the schools? I know we got a lot of #1 draft choices. The kid at Georgia that hits the home run, the Montgomery kid from A&M. is a high, and I think Tennessee had an outfielder, and I'm sure there's others too that I'm not thinking about. Arkansas seems like they're always loaded with pitching, but who do you think who do you think overall was the best player that you saw?
This season, I would say the best player that we played against was probably Christian Moore from Tennessee, the kid who hit for the cycle in their first game in Omaha. I mean, that dude, he's unreal.
Yeah.
Just like every at bat that he has, you're kind of up there just kind of like just hoping that it's not a home run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, he led the SEC in batting average, home runs, and RBIs for just SEC games. So I mean, he had a heck of a year.
Well, listen, I don't know. I just know that was, to me, watching them play the other night, and especially watching the highlights. That's a big stage to hit for the cycle. I'm just telling you, Will. That's just not going to happen every century, you know. It's phenomenal what he did, really, you know. It's just unbelievable. So quite a ball player there, and I did forget about him. But anyway, is he a junior or a senior, or can he go to the draft?
Oh yes, sir. I think he is a junior, so he'll be able to be drafted this year.
Okay. Okay, are there many friends that you run into, opponents on other teams that you might have played summer league baseball against, or anybody like that you still have a friendship with from other teams?
Oh, yes, sir. Plenty of people. So it really is crazy how small like the baseball world is, and playing on travel ball teams and different stuff like that. You get to meet so many different people, and then even guys who I've played with at Alabama who have transferred to different places. There's just a lot of friendships that I still have and maintain on other teams, and it's always a lot of fun when you get to see somebody.
Well, I know the shortstop from Florida, didn't he play with Alabama last year?
Yes, sir, he did.
He can hit that ball a long way too.
Oh, yes, sir, he can. That kid's got some power.
Yeah. Well, listen, of course, now, you know, the draft is next month. So I'm sure baseball coaches, you know, even your baseball coach at Alabama, he's sitting there. All right, who may I lose? Who are they going to draft? Who may sign, you know? This recruiting is getting kind of hard, isn't it, for these baseball coaches? Because, you know, you got the portal. They can draft out, you know, they get signed out of the portal. I guess they get signed. I guess that's what it's called. And then you know, all of a sudden have the draft the next month. How do they replace these players?
You know, those guys, our coaches, they work so hard, especially during the summer, to build our roster. And, I mean, the portal helps them a lot as far as losing guys to the draft goes, because you can go to the portal and you can get somebody who's already got experience playing college baseball. So that's a convenience for them. But on the flip side, the portal's also made it to where when you get done with your season, you don't really know how many guys off of your team are going to be back for you next year. So it's a double-edged sword for sure.
Well, now listen, I know you're never going to stay out there because you got a very level head, but I know you're not going to stand out there and say, I got this SEC play right now. But when did you first say, hey, I can at least play with these guys? Was there a moment when you were like a freshman or a sophomore when you said that?
Yes, sir. I'd say kind of like I was saying earlier, my freshman fall when we're scrimmaging and stuff like that, and you're playing against guys that you watched in SEC play the year before. And I had a good bit of success my freshman fall, and it kind of gave me the confidence to know that I belong, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting at. I think baseball is such a humbling sport. You never think that you got it, because
No, yes, sir.
because you're a millionaire if you just do it 3 times out of 10. I'd like to take those odds down to the casino. You just got to get 3.
No, I hear you.
3 out of 10 there.
I got a couple. Go back quick. What pitcher that you faced in your collegiate endeavor sticks out in your mind the most? You may not want to say that. Of course, I'm sure everybody in the world is going to be hanging on the edge tomorrow night to listen to it. But what pitchers have really stuck out in your mind as some guy that you would maybe not want to play against versus somebody you can't wait to line up and try him on? You got any come to mind?
Yes, sir. So, the Hagen Smith from Arkansas, I mean, his stats kind of show. I doubt there's many people out there who really want to face him. I mean, he's a left-handed pitcher and got a really good fastball and a wipeout slider. So, especially being a left-handed hitter, he's not very fun to face.
Well, listen, another question from me. When you were growing up, tell us a little bit about maybe who your favorite team was, maybe a major league team, or who you kind of, I don't say you idolized, but you wanted to pattern yourself after. Was there anybody in particular?
I wouldn't say that there's any player in particular, but growing up, I always loved the Braves and watching them play, just being from Mississippi and that being closest team to us. But I wouldn't say that there's ever like a player that I really idolized. I mean, honestly, just watching like guys at Wayne County play, like I always loved watching DeMarcus Henderson play, and then I love watching my older brother play. So I mean, I'd say more so like those guys inspire me more than any like professional players did.
I was noticing in some bio information I found on you online that, of course, I knew you had a brother. I know David, of course. I didn't realize you had a cousin that plays at Texas. Is that correct, Douglas?
Yes, sir. He played at Texas, and he's in the Orioles organization now.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a good organization to be in. They got some talent, baby.
And Hodos know how to play ball, don't they?
Yeah, I watched them play the Phillies Sunday afternoon a little bit, and that was quite an atmosphere because those teams, Philadelphia and Baltimore, is only 90 miles away, and I think half of Philadelphia came to the ball game, and it was like a college football scene, And of course, they both teams have great players and young players.
Yes, sir.
And things like that. Well, listen. What is the Alabama prospects for next year?
I think we're gonna have a real good squad again next year. We're keeping our shortstop, who is a All SEC first team and freshman All American. That's gonna be huge for us to keep, and then we're gonna get some pitching back that help us out this year, and some guys who are hurt will be healthy next year. So I think we're gonna have a good squad, and our coaches they'll recruit in the portal, and they'll get some guys who can help us win some games.
We're about to close this time out, but before we go, Will, any kind of message you'd like to give to some high schoolers out there that are aspiring to be sitting in the same place you are a year or two from now? You got any words of advice for aspiring young collegiate baseball players?
Oh, yes, sir. I'd say the most important thing you can do as a high school baseball player is just to believe in yourself. There's no college coach out there that's going to recruit somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. So I think the most important thing you can do is just build up that confidence in yourself and go play with it.
There you go. Well, listen, we appreciate you. We're out of time for this segment, Will, and we thank you for what for taking your time. You're a big deal in our community, and we salute you, brother. And we're pulling for you, and we will continue to do so. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm going to ask you to hold on for just a minute. Will, Dale and I are going to take a break here from our sponsor, and we'll be back with tonight's final segment after this commercial break. See you in a moment.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's final segment. I tell you what, Will, it was good talking to him. I mean, you know, we all know his family around here, and just good folks, and a lot of fun to talk to. And he's making his way, man.
Oh yeah,
He's doing what he loves to do.
Yeah, I've known him. I guess ever since he was a small kid, you know, running around the elementary school.
He ain't small no more, about 6'3", 230.
Yeah, he ran around the elementary school, and then he went to the middle school for a while. And anyway, but he was always around sports for sure.
Anything else in sports want to talk about?
Well, they had a great U.S. Open, I guess, ending yesterday.
I'm looking at the headline. It said, golfing world fears Rory McIlroy will be haunted after the U.S. Open slips from his grasp.
Well,
he went right through his fingers, didn't he?
Yeah, he lost it on the 16th and 18th. I watched the last 2 or 3 rounds, and of course the guy that won it, I'm not trying to pronounce his name, but anyway,
DeChambeau?
Yeah, DeChambeau.
How hard is that?
I don't know.
That first name's Bryson.
Yeah.
Say it, baby. DeChambeau.
Bryson.
What, did he miss a couple of putts?
He did.
Man, I've missed a couple of putts in my time.
One of them was a 4-footer, but Bryson, he hits it out of the sand and gets within about 3 feet of the hole. You're bound to do good.
Oh yeah,
You're bound to do good. But anyway. But he's a lively fellow. They interviewed him after the thing, and he was praising everybody, telling him he loved everybody.
Oh man!
Of course, if I was going to get a check for $4.3 million, I'd be saying,
loving everybody. Man, I love you, man.
I'd say the same thing.
Man, you get somebody hand you $3 or $4 million, you get happy pretty quick.
There was a guy from Mississippi. Well, he went to Ole Miss. He's not really from Mississippi. He's from Florida, but he played golf at Ole Miss. He wasn't even in the tournament till like Wednesday, and they called him down there. He was like a fill-in, and he finishes 72nd out of 73, and he gets a check for $39,000. We're in the wrong business, son.
He got a check for finishing
72nd. He got $39,000. Now on the women's side, we have a girl from Fulton named Allie Ewan. Okay, her husband is the golf coach at Mississippi State. Anyway, she's on the tour. She's about 31 years old, and she was in the lead after the first round, and maybe the second round she was tied. They had one. The women had a golf tournament too, and she ended up finishing. Well, really, she finished 4th, but 2nd as far as the standings, because there was a 3-way playoff for first. And so she lost. I mean, she wasn't in the playoff, but she was only one stroke behind the leaders. And she took home a check for $152,000. So there was some nice paychecks. I'm sure Tate Reeves is going to really encourage more people to play golf.
Ooh, I wish I'd played a little better.
Yes, and everything.
You ever play golf, Dale?
Yeah, I would say that the Waynesburg Country Club taught me that I wasn't a golfer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kept kind of hitting the ball on the road. I was slicing it somehow. I didn't understand all that. People kept telling me.
84 out there?
Yeah.
What hole were you teeing off on? You a lefty, Dale?
Well, back in those days, I was a righty, but I was pulling that ball down the right field line, left field line. So I was getting after it. I lost a lot of golf balls. So I said, maybe this is not really for me, But, nobody ever taught me how to play. I just went out there and started playing,
Just go, man.
I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do it. But I am going to go play top golf a couple of weeks from now in Mobile. I'm excited about
I've been thinking about going down there and doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually played it out in Texas.
How does that work?
Well, they have points for you out there. They've got a course there, and of course they got a big net at the end of it, so you don't hit it over. But anyway, there's points. It's like 50 points will be over here to the right, 25 points to the left, down the middle, certain points, and and it kind of adds it up. Remember those old.
Yeah. Which place gets the most points? I'm to the left or the right or in the middle?
I can't really remember.
I would think the middle.
I just tried to. Well, really, that's where all I was trying to do. I was just trying to hit it down the middle.
How'd that work out?
Well, it worked out all right. My 13-year-old granddaughter and my wife and my grandson were the only one to beat me.
Oh, okay then.
Of course, there's only 4 of us playing.
Well, I can have you got a world class athlete in your granddaughter there, but but they can do everything. These gymnasts, I'm sure. But
There you go.
I hate to tell you, folks, but we're about out of time. I want to remind
We are?
y'all. Yeah,
Okay.
we are. Just hang on there a minute, Dale.
Okay.
Just calm down. It'll be okay. I'm gonna try to remember what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna remind everybody that they can follow us on Facebook at the Brouhaha, and all of our shows are archived on our YouTube channel at the Brouhaha. So check us all out, and you'll be able to find Will Hodo's interview on there too after the show. So all that having been said, it's that time where we have to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
And we'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.